You've seen the show Doomsday Preppers. There's other shows like that, survival shows. What should we know? I mean, actually, we've got President Obama preparing for attack on Syria, maybe saying now it's not going to happen. But I almost argue that World War III has begun. It just hasn't escalated to the next level. Let's see what Anthony Kovic, is it Kovic or Kovich?
Kovic is correct.
Kovic. Okay, Anthony, welcome to Evan and Deb in the afternoon. So tell me, you see these shows now, Doomsday Preppers and things like that. Should we all be prepared for some sort of war in the future?
We should not really be, prepared for the type of doomsday type scenario. That's a little bit above, most people in big major cities around the country, even suburbs, can handle. So what we need to really be prepared for is the basic storms, power outages, things that really disrupt day-to-day life for a few days, a week or two, is a bigger priority than a national world war event. When that happens, everybody will know what to do, so to speak.
Really? Okay. It seems different, though, today than maybe if you go back 50 years. If you go back to World War II, the reason people killed themselves was because they couldn't fight for America. Things are a little different today. Wouldn't you say that people's feeling towards their own country is a bit different than it was 60 years ago?
That is true. One of the better things that we have in today's modern society is better communications. We put more effort and pressure on our representatives not to involve the masses in their war efforts. One of the biggest things that President George W. Bush was being constantly hounded to is to make Americans feel the war effort like they did during Vietnam and World War I and World War II. We just know it's something that takes place over there. Our troops are doing it, they're volunteering, and it doesn't affect us in the same way it did back then.
So what ways should we look at it? What are some of the ways that turmoil abroad does affect us at home?
It affects us at home in the sense of energy costs go up. Every conflict is another opportunity for the government and other groups that manage energy to make it more expensive for us on a day-to-day basis. That's one of our biggest problems. Energy raises the price of everything, from a grain of rice to your trip to the store and whatever you're buying at the store, because everything requires energy to be made, everything requires energy to be brought to you, and everything requires energy for you to bring it home.
Okay. So now, you look at, did you listen to President Obama's speech last night?
I did not listen to his speech last night.
Well, one thing he said was that, the use of chemical weapons could affect Americans in, I guess, a roundabout way. Do you feel that he's right, that the use of chemical weapons is something that we should be concerned with as Americans?
We should be concerned as Americans, but it really doesn't concern us in the same way it does other. This is a formula. What happens in the world is a formula. Right now, the President Obama and the administration is doing the right thing. They created enough issue to force the chemical weapons out of the loop by creating a scenario that gave the Russians an opportunity, a way in to, John Kerry, the so-called gaffe, gave the Russians a way and the Syrians a way to save face by saying, we're going to take away the weapons out of the loop in order for us not to be blown up by the United States. So they did a good job in handling that situation, so we don't have to go in and just make a mess of the thing and own the whole scenario.
So then, when you look at just being prepared, like you said, for emergencies around the U.S., should there be certain things that we have so we're prepared for a hurricane, a tornado, flooding? I mean, is each house, each homeowner, should they have a certain, let's say, stockpile of anything?
Absolutely. Basic food groups like soups, canned goods, beef jerkies, granola bars, power bars. The important factor in being prepared is knowing that your family is fine during a 3 to 5 to 10 day power outage, storm, things that disrupt the natural, distribution chain in the United States, to where we're able to not be concerned and have to run around looking for, because remember, the first thing that happens when the stores run out of stuff is that they close down. There's nothing there. So now if you're scrounging around looking for food, who has food? People in homes, they have food. So you have that kind of bandits roaming around looking for opportunities. And that creates the problem. So if more and more people had resources already in their home, even the basics, it makes it less needy for people to run around trying to find food.
Right. You're listening to AM 1470 WMGG. We're talking to Anthony Kovic. You can find him at anthonykovic.com/prepping. And we're talking about, do you need to be a disaster prepper these days? Now, Anthony, so let me ask you this. Being armed, do you find, the government, there's been a lot of fighting over, arming citizens or citizens being armed. What's your feeling? Do you think most people should have some sort of, or the right to at least have some sort of guns?
Of course, everyone should be armed to a minimal degree. It is the biggest problem. People think that they need heavy artillery. You do not need heavy artillery. Basic weapons, whether it be a handgun, rifle, shotguns, basic weapons that are manageable and people know how to use it. Armaments don't make any value to anyone if you don't know how to use it, or you're going to hurt yourself or your family members. So whatever you're going to arm yourself with, make sure you know how to use it safely to protect people first and foremost, not to use it to hurt others just because.
Right. Excellent advice there. So one final question though. Should we be prepared in any way, shape, or form at this point for some sort of war to occur?
The war, if there is a conflict, I don't believe that we're going to need to prepare in that sense. But in a general preparedness, if something was to happen, let's say there is a conflict and the country is mobilized or whatever, what do you have prepared? Do you have your documents organized? Do you have all your files in a memory chip that you can take with you? Do you have, resources, places that you can go if, let's say, your area is affected? You have to have a basic, simple strategy. Even 10 measly dollars a week in budgeting for preparedness and food and other supplies can easily stockpile a simple amount of content, stuff that you can be prepared for. And importantly, we see it all the time. Oh my God, my pictures of my grandma, my grandpa, my great, whatever.
Right.
Those pictures can be professionally scanned. If you don't have a scanner or printer at home, you can easily get these services done for you. And everyone has a printer with a scanner built in. So just learn how to use it. Scan all your important documents. Put them in a secure file format like a PDF. So this way, and you place them on a chip or on the cloud. And whenever something happens, the important thing is know that you have yours secure and that wherever you go, you have access to it.
All right. More information, go to AnthonyKovic, KOVIC.com/prepping. Anthony, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, more coming up. AM 1470 WMGG. Evan and Deb in the afternoon on Health, Wealth, and Wisdom.
The Lucky Dill Deli, home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn, presents the sandwich that ate